Okay, so this is the Morpheus meeting Wednesday, August 12th. And yeah, I think that would be a great way to start, is if you could summarize Thursday's decisions, and then we can kind of go from there.
Okay. So during the Thursday's meeting, the two things we decided mainly are documenting the skin building, mainly the process of applying the themes, and also the tool-based CSS, tool-based standards for having the layouts and different things. That's the one main thing which we want, so that we can standardize all the tool-based CSS and everything. And the second thing is basically importing Bootstrap into Morpheus, so that we can use the default Bootstrap layouts without having our own layouts, but not directly using them. We could extend them, and then we could start using them inside our tools. So that's those are the main two things which we decided, and beyond this, we also plan to have a small theming kind of competition. But yeah, that's one thing which we want to come up with the new colors and new theme for our default Sakai instance. So those are the three things which we actually decided on during the last Thursday. Yeah.
Cool. I have some comments, but first, curious if there's any questions. Okay, so first of all, Uday, I'm wondering, do you have like a timeline of when the documentation piece is likely to be done?
Not at this moment, but are you looking at any specific timeline?
So the breaking news this morning from Jeff, who's I see is on the call, is that it looks like that the gradebook next generation gradebook NG is going to be merged into Trunk probably the end of next week. There's also work going on in lessons to add new columns. So there's some new development going on as well, but I expect that would be a few weeks. So once we get gradebook NG in there, I think then we might want to think about doing a really big push, and think about, what that push is. Is the first push QA? Is it that documentation, so we can start getting other tools aligned with Morpheus and that type of thing?
Okay. So one more big news from my side is basically I am leaving Marist in September, end of September.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
So I'm in this transition starting today, mostly. So I will be working, obviously, but I don't know how much I will be putting time in this, but I definitely want to. Yeah, so I'm not quite sure about that. I really hope if someone from Mercy can start working on the documentation, if it is the urgent thing. But I'm not sure if anyone is free for now. And I know that Eduardo is not back until 31st, which is a couple of weeks for now. So I can't promise anything on that for now. So because I have a lot of things to actually wrap up here before I leave. So
sure,
that's on my side.
Sure.
And also beyond after moving from Marist, I'm not quite sure how much I will be, but I will be definitely involved with Morpheus, basically using my spare time and all the off office work hours. But yeah, I'll not be available for these meetings because it's a work hours, right?
Sure.
Unless my new boss is okay with 1 hour a week call with you guys. So, but yeah, so yeah, that's my side thing.
Well, congratulations on whatever move you made. Are you going to still be in higher ed? Are you going to be in private sector? What's your?
Thank you first, but yeah, no, I'm not going to higher ed. I'm going to Deloitte, based off the multiple places, but I'm moving to Orlando.
Wow.
Whoa.
Yeah.
you're working at Disney World, is what you're saying.
Yeah,
I think
yeah,
he said
yeah.
Deloitte, which isn't
Universal Disney
exactly.
World. Yeah, you can have anything. Yeah,
Believe me, there are a lot of characters at Deloitte.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's funny. So I'm curious, Uday, has because I haven't, is there folks at Marist we should be speaking to see if there will be anyone who can kind of, I mean, fill in your role? Obviously, they wouldn't have your experience, but do you know if there's any plans to sort of backfill the kinds of things you're doing, or is that something,
Yes, I think they have plans, but at this moment, as I said, I just announced it today to
Okay.
here. So,
Okay.
but there will be definitely a replacement. I'm not sure if that would happen before I leave, but they're definitely looking for that.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Congratulations, Uday. Deloitte's a great company. So
Yeah,
that's
thank you.
great.
The main reason is my wife is working there in the same company in the same location, so that's the main thing which I actually made the decision for.
Right. So you'll get along with some of the coworkers. That's nice.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Congratulations. We'll miss you quite a bit. I'm glad that you'll, make an effort to be part of the community. I know that if you're, doing a move, that's a huge thing to do a move, and then starting a new job is also a huge thing. So, we won't have any expectations of, any demands on your time or anything like that. But it's great that you're at least thinking about that at some point. You'll try and help keep Morpheus going. That would be awesome if you're able to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. I like to work on this. Sakai, I definitely will be. Yeah, I don't know how. That's what I said. I don't know how much I will be, but I definitely will be.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I understand. I understand how difficult it could be to anticipate how much time you'll actually have when you've got so much on your plate just to do that transition. That's a huge transition. Moving to a new place and to a new job. That's huge.
Yep.
So, well, thank you for letting us know that. That's really good information for us to have. And yeah, the folks in Marist are on I think like forced vacation or something. Like this is a time of year when they're all forced to take several weeks off, I think. So I don't think any of them are around for a few weeks. So we won't be able to tell. Yeah. So yeah, I'm not sure what I was thinking about doing, but I think given where you are, Uday, I'm not sure if it really makes sense is to look at like the JIRAs, the Morpheus tag JIRAs, and kind of see how many JIRAs there are out there, and where we would get attention for those JIRAs and that sort of thing to start making some progress on that. But I'm not sure if that makes sense or not. What do y'all think? Yeah.
I think that's a good idea for now. We'll start working on zeros as much as can.
Okay. I am creating a really quick filter here so we can take a look at the JIRA issues. Category equals and labels equal Morpheus and status. Let's have a query here in just a second.
Also, just to mention, for now, if you want to write the documentation for standardizing the namespaces for the Morpheus tools, we have to define these rules first in the Morpheus. So I may actually start working on that whenever I get to the next few days, so that we can start working on that. And then once we have that, the documenting is pretty simple. Just come up with a list of the namespaces of how to actually use this thing. So I'll see what I can do, and by the time, if I can do this before 31st, and then if Edward or someone from Mercia come back, then it shouldn't be that problem. So they can just write documentation, and they pretty much know everything.
Okay.
So yeah, I'll let you guys know what I do, and we have a weekly call. I'll be available in this call till September end, at least. So
cool. So here's a filter I just created. I don't know if there was an existing filter, but the filter I pasted in the chat window is a list of all the issues in Sakai with the label Morpheus and have not been resolved. And so there's 23 issues in there, and they are ordered from the current priority level of kind of the highest level is critical, which is really good because I think there was like a couple of blocker issues, so I guess they got addressed. So maybe we could just like take a look at these and make sure that the priority is set at the right level for these kinds of things. And also, I'm curious if you all think it's almost time to start around the QA testing on Trunk, or if we should wait a little bit. So I kind of have mixed feelings about it because on the one hand, there's, of course, Morpheus is pretty far along, so testing a lot of tools would be great. Of course, we don't have Gradebook NG unless this is under progress, so we wouldn't be able to test those specific tools, but we still might find, some other issues. So any help in thinking that through would also be, also be a useful conversation. So just kind of going down the list here from the top one, Samigo 2042.
Mm-hmm.
So IE accessibility IE loses focus when navigating between screens using the keyboard. So it's listed as a critical issue. Does that seem about right?
The accessibility. Yeah, accessibility is definitely important. Yeah.
I notice it's IE9 though. I wonder if it's fixed on IE10.
IE9.
Yeah, and IE9 is starting to get old.
Yeah, I should probably test that. Yeah. 10 and 11. Yeah.
Yeah. We just don't have the bandwidth in the community to, support browsers going way, way back. We dropped, IE6 a while ago. We dropped, I think, IE7 and IE8. I'm not sure if we're still even supporting IE9 or not. So that probably needs a little investigation there.
Yep.
Let me put a comment on here. Does it say anything about IE10 or on here, or 11? Oh, it says, yeah, it looks like on March 5th, Michael Brousseau put in this is still the behavior for Sakai 2.9 and IE11 and IE10. So sounds like that's still an issue. The next one is Samigo 2548. And so I'll post that here.
Yeah, that definitely looks broken.
Errant calendar below footer on settings. So I categorize that as major. So one of the things in terms of categorizing for Sakai 11, I think what we are doing at this point is anything we really don't want to release Sakai 11 with, we should make a blocker to make sure it gets highlighted. As we get closer to an actual release, we can always recategorize things and push them down to critical or major. But if we really want to shoot for, we don't want to release Sakai 11 with this bug, then we make those things blockers. So this one I opened as a major. I don't know if that's the right level or if we should make that a blocker or critical.
I think it's a blocker because it's not making it work. So if you see the image, the calendar is below the footer, which is not good.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, I think it should be a blocker, yeah.
Okay, cool. Thanks. So then the next one is Samigo 2543, which is error not showing on blank assessment name. Let's see. So I think I wasn't aware of whether this one, actually is Morpheus related or not.
Oh, yeah, alerts. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it looks somewhat related to the even from the functionality of the assessments, and I don't know. Yeah, we had to see more because I think you mentioned in that video you have extra options when you click create without the title. I don't know why they appear after create button. It,
Okay, well, we come back to that. It sounds like that could use a little more testing. And I don't know if that would be a blocker. I mean, it's hard to tell.
yeah. I think major should be fine for that
Okay.
now because I don't actually understand that exactly.
All right. The next one is SAM Samigo 2606.
Yes. I don't understand exactly, but
Did you open the any of the screenshots?
those are HTMLs or images. I don't understand what it
They're
is.
actually PNGs. For
Okay.
some reason, I guess maybe I uploaded them the wrong way. They're not. If you download them and open them, they'll open as PNGs.
Okay.
I guess I have to re-upload them a better way.
Yep. Just a second. Yeah. Yeah, I see that now. Yeah. So is that only happening in that tool? Then yeah, we have to see if that's this tool specific thing or is the regular or every tool or not. Yeah, it's under Amigo. Okay.
Okay, I'll look and see if it's happening in other tools. That's the one I noticed it in, so I'm guessing it was just Samigo. So it might just be tool specific.
Yeah, if it is, yeah, I think it's under Samigo, so it should be fine. I mean, if tagged as labeled as Morpheus, it should be fine. That was
What's
okay.
that? I'm sorry. Okay, the next one is SAK 29414.
I don't know how much relevant is this, but I think we made it 100%. But I still have to verify it. Maybe this is.
What does this really mean? The single width tool pages are too narrow.
Like if you have only one tool in that tool section,
Uh-huh.
the pixel is only set to the max 990 pixels, and I think I removed that option in the previous bug fixes along with the changes we are making.
Oh,
But
okay.
let me quickly go in and verify that.
Right, so this one might get resolved.
Yeah,
Other work.
that's what I believe. Main reason I can just mention, because if you remember, the background is white in that one. So the background white is basically merging these two, and when we made it darker background, I just maximized the whole width of the tool so that they are filled 100%. But it used to be 990 pixels before the change. And I think it's solved now. Now, yep, it should be resolved. But yeah, just try it.
Okay, so this one is probably resolved. Do you have a ticket it's related to, or it was one of those things where you were just doing a batch of updates? They weren't related to Jira's?
One of the batch updates with the discussions we had.
Okay.
This would be probably making the first change where transforming the colors from the different background and making the tools whiter.
Okay. All right, cool.
So,
I put a comment on there.
So quick question, because that one they're saying, I mean, I think what Steve is saying is right? I mean, you're going to remove that limit, right?
So you mean, do you want the limit, or there is no limit now? That's what.
Oh yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. Remove the limit. Yeah.
Yeah, we remove the limit. Yeah.
Okay,
that's already
cool.
done now.
Cool.
So I opened that one from waiting review, and I put a comment in it that this is probably resolved, and please retest it. But also reminds me, since colors came up, I wanted to mention that we're going to do a color scheme contest, and Earl and me and Didi are like a mini committee to set that up. And I also had input from the accessibility group on, accessibility standards for color contrast, so that we can include that in the contest. And then I think we're going to announce that at the Sakai Virtual Conference. So Dr. Chuck has agreed to be one of the judges, but we probably he said he's terrible at being a judge. I don't know what that means, but so we're going to start down that path. I just thought I'd mention that. If anyone wants to be involved or has ideas, please let us know. So moving on, gradebook SAK 29374. Gradebook date picker is broken.
Maybe this one is also fixed, but
I wonder if how that affects Gradebook NG.
It's not. I think it's still a bug.
Would this be a blocker level?
Yeah.
Yeah. It sounds like a blocker. So we make this a blocker level.
I don't think it'll affect Gradebook NG, but just a reminder for folks. Actually, there aren't that many folks on, but so what we'd like to do is make Gradebook NG the default, but still have the current gradebook in there. So they both need attention.
That's going to be tricky. It's a good thing that you're bringing that up, because we're going to have to figure out how to manage QA around that.
Yeah, well, the team here, we can definitely pitch in a lot on NG.
I mean, the fact that Steve opened up this date picker issue, and it's with the gradebook, I'm assuming, I would assume from this context that he's using the generic, the jQuery date picker that's like the standard date picker now in Sakai.
I'm going to put a little comment in asking if it's affecting both Gradebook and Gradebook NG.
Gotcha.
Okay. I made it a blocker. Okay. The next one is
probably, you should probably, obviously it's too early just yet, but it wouldn't be a bad idea to set up a new component for the Gradebook NG coming up.
Oh, that's a good idea. That should.
And I would just call it Gradebook NG. That way it's informative and.
Okay. New component. I'm glad you named it Gradebook NG, Jeff, because that still gives me a chance to make puns off it, so thank you.
That's great. It also satisfies any Star Trek fans out there.
Yeah, exactly. So huge important constituents, pun makers and Star Trek fans,
right,
of our largest audiences.
Right. If you do a Venn diagram of those people, they really overlap a lot.
All right, let's see. So the next thing is SAK 29170. Error view needs updating for Morpheus. That's listed as a portal thing.
Oh, that's a Gradebook NG one.
It's a Gradebook NG thing. Yeah. So when it says error view, I guess he means like mapping when there are particular errors that occur instead of having unexpected runtime exception, actually giving a user-friendly message. Is that how you would interpret that?
Yeah, I think the left navigation is basically squished up when the error is throwing and the error is thrown now. I don't know if since then we changed the left nav, but we still have to test it. It's probably waiting for evaluation on them.
Okay, that looks like probably a blocker level, right? Or like we wouldn't want to release with that because that would look pretty ugly.
Yeah.
Okay. Next one, page and tool view are not displaying correctly in portal with Morpheus, SAK 29122.
Even this should be fixed now because it's March. March is basically too old.
Okay. I'll make a note on here. Please retest. This should be fixed.
It's marked as fixed already.
SAK 29122.
Sorry. No, I'm looking at 112. Sorry.
All right.
Just so you know, that one's a Morpheus one too.
Okay.
But it is fixed.
Okay. Let's see. So next one is SAK 28099.
I think it's fixed too because we have already a bunch of commits for this.
Oh, right. I see that. Yeah, there's a bunch of commits. So this one should be probably set as resolved.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Next one is, let's see, SAK 29218. Some styles have far too much white space under Morpheus.
I would say it's the same thing, probably fixed. But let me quickly check this one. It's users, right? Okay. Yeah, I think it's fixed.
Okay.
The tables have a different CSS back then. It's yeah. I think it's so. Some of them are mostly during March period. It's drastically different since March. Yeah, I think it's almost fixed.
Okay. Cool. I'll make a comment on that. The next one is SAK 29739. Let's paste that in. Insufficient padding margin around block level comments.
I don't know. maybe it is fixed. It's really hard to understand.
So
I don't know how much is expected. That's the thing here.
Yeah, this might be one of those like. I mean, like one of those things like where, if you did the bootstrap, if we've mapped stuff to the bootstrap, styles, then this would not be an issue, right? I mean,
yeah.
So that, I don't know if it's still an issue. That's probably what just needs to be checked on, I think, is all.
Yeah. I think we can leave it as a major for now and see, review it exactly what we can do on that. I'm just going to concentrate on specific things.
Does anyone put a comment in there?
So I have just a general question, because
okay.
I don't know this, but like, how much are styles from Bootstrap are mapped using Morpheus?
I would say none for now.
Oh, okay.
I think everything is custom built for our Sakai. But yeah, that's the next thing which we plan to do, start using Bootstrap. Basically for layouts, I would say for the sizing and then the layouts majorly. Once we start using that, then we can define anything.
Right, because once you start using that, and once you start using once you start using the Bootstrap styles, right, and then obviously your button styles are going to be updated and all that. It'll all look a little different, right?
Yep.
Right. Okay. So I would say that this issue is wrapped into that larger issue.
Yeah. Yep.
It's like a sub issue of that one. I don't know if there is that other issue out there. Other Jira created.
I don't think so.
That might be a good idea, Neil, to create that other Jira, and then I would link this one to that.
Would you mind doing that, since I'm not sure I have a grasp on what you're discussing?
Yeah, so I don't know if I'm the right one to do it, because I understand it less.
No, I'm doing it.
Okay, cool.
Thanks, Uday.
Yeah.
Thanks. Uday would be a good one to do it, yes.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah, I don't want to open a ticket and say, ticket title is, I was told we should open a Jira. I don't want to do that.
I think my comment was more of just, I think this is what just needs to happen.
Okay.
That's all.
Okay, can we move on? Shall we move on?
I think so.
Do you need a minute are you creating the Jira right now, Uday, or? Because give you a second.
But you can go ahead.
Okay. All right. The next one's 29649. And that is adjust positioning of password strength message on new account page. Minor adjustment. Strength info message is misaligned by about 0.5.
Really similar to that last one.
It doesn't sound like a blocker level type thing. It sounds like major sounds about right.
No, and it's a style issue.
Yeah. I mean, some style issues, if they're really, really ugly, we wouldn't want to release Sakai looking ugly, right? So there's a little bit of a judgment call on some of those things, I think.
Well, so let me ask, okay, so this is another question, and this is all part of me understanding a little bit more about where Morpheus is. So, is it that for Sakai 11 that that Morpheus will be released using our own styles, and then the Bootstrap styles will be migration? Are we going to be migrating to Bootstrap styles in the future? Is that after? Uday? Is that?
I mean, we could do both ways, but I think for now, what we decided is, I mean, at least that's what my understanding is basically to start using Bootstrap specific CSS extended into Morpheus for tool specific thing, not for the overall
Okay.
portal. But definitely, that's the actual plan to actually make use of Bootstrap as much as we can, so that we don't need to do a redundant work inside the Morpheus. And Morpheus
Right.
is basically having namespaces for Sakai specific theming, and then we extend any other framework, Bootstrap, anything anyone wanted to. So that's the idea. Eventually, we should be going forward.
Okay.
Yeah, but for now, I think for this upcoming, whatever we planned is basically specific for the tools. So whatever we extend from Bootstrap is tool specific. I mean, we could also make it if we have some time to actually for the overall Morpheus layer thing. But yeah.
Right. Yeah, and I think, to be honest, I think that there's more styling done in the tools than there is. I mean, not that the portal doesn't have styling, but I mean, obviously it does. But I'm just saying, I think that there's more like, tool-specific styling, that would benefit from like that. I mean, I think the portal is because the portal styling is all in one location. It's like one tool basically, right? So, and then like the other one is like all the different tools and getting them all to use the right styles is important.
Yep.
Okay. So I guess for now, we'll leave this one as a major. But like I said, something to keep in mind is that kind of the criteria is blocker means we don't want to release Sakai without it. And while there might be a lot of little kind of formatting issues, we also don't want to release something that looks unprofessional. So there's going to be kind of a little bit of a judgment call on some of these things. Yeah.
I would link this last year to that one that you opened too.
Yeah, I just did it.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, cool. Thanks. All right, next one is file picker helper needs updating for Morpheus Sakai 29255. Is this just an admin tool thing, or is this a general thing for the file picker, like everywhere?
Yeah, that needs to be looked at.
I think it's it would be everywhere. But tutorial is using this because we see it whenever we log in. Yeah, this one is still the old jQuery one, so. I mean, it's marked as minor, but I think it's linked to another Jira, which is 29166. Tutorial needs updating for Morpheus. So yeah.
Yeah, that's another thing. Yep, for sure.
So the 29166 is related to the 29255 file picker issue?
No, it's just a similar thing.
Oh, okay. And should this be a blocker? This looks like it would be a well, if it's only the admin, I wouldn't worry about it. But if it's something users might see,
yeah, no,
I think
every user would see
this. Is it? I think it will be option when they go to tutorial, right? They will be having
Yeah,
multiplayer.
it's whether or not you're using the tutorial option or not, right? Because that option decides whether or not the tutorial displays. And if the tutorial displays, it displays like that, and it's not Morpheus. Yeah.
Well, the tutorial is on by default out of the box, right? So
yeah, so then it should be done.
So then it means this needs to be, so somehow this file picker one is related to the tutorial. I don't understand that connection, but it sounds like it should be a blocker.
Why is it related to the file picker? I mean, it's a similar, unless they use the same CSS.
Yeah, I don't know if they are using.
That's the only way I could see that they would be related, Neil.
Okay, so that's a whole. So we're talking about two different things then, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. So is the file picker helper, the SAK29255, is that a blocker?
So which one is that? SAK?
SAK29255.
Fine.
I'm sorry, am I saying it right? Maybe I'm saying it wrong.
I think it is.
Yeah, I see that. But let me see. I would be resolved. Okay, resources. Just a second. I'm just verifying that it still exists.
Okay.
So this one is opened in April, so could be that.
Oh, so it could be one of the that might be fixed. We might need to retest it.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's kind of. Yeah, I think it's fixed. Yeah, probably should retest it. Yep.
Okay. All right, I put a comment on it, and I'll open it. Okay. The next one is extending Bootstrap layout and styles into Morpheus, which was open just 5 minutes ago. So, all right, is that a blocker though? I mean, that would be like, wouldn't that be one that we would? That's required for 11, right? And for tools.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I'm gonna make that a blocker.
Yep.
All right. The next one is adjust positioning of password string message on new account page. Oh, we already covered this one. We didn't put a comment on it. SAK2, somehow it put me back here. SAK29649. This is where I am seeing, which we did just discuss a second ago. So, but we didn't put a comment on it or change the priority or anything. So, and that's from July.
Yeah, you should just link it. We need to link it though to that other one. I think that's what we said we would do. Or is this like a duplicate? No, it's not a duplicate.
Oh, it's not a duplicate. It's entirely new tool. I think new account page tools. Yeah, it's.
I would just link it to that other one.
Which one do we need to link it to? What's the
one they just opened?
Okay.
The one that Uday just opened.
Okay.
I don't know what number it is.
SAK29801. All right, I'll add that link. Right. Okay, got that link in there. Let's see. I'll open this one up. Wow. I'll put a comment on it. Okay. Next one is, that's a tutorial one, so we had some discussion on that. Looks like that was already updated. Okay, cool. So Sean updated that. This is tutorial needs updating from Morpheus. And so I think we just discussed this one as well. Do we need to, I guess we should open this one. It shouldn't be awaiting review, right? And what's the priority level one? Is this would be a blocker, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Cool. Let's see. Almost done. Almost done. We're in the home stretch here. Next one is SAK29736. Tabs limited to 4 sites and no more sites button visible. Oh, so that's probably one that's fixed by now, right? That was opened. Oh, no, that's July. Okay, so it could be a new one. That could be a bug. That would be a blocker if that's true.
Yeah, but I don't know. I think they're pointing to the wrong position because we made a change in the recent update, or Chuck made a change where the preferences come from the active or inactive sites, right?
Right. Yeah.
This one is just the. I don't think this is the page we should be looking at, right? From the tutorial, that's what I look at. Sorry, from the screenshot.
I'm not sure I understand your comment.
Probably we should review it because from this thing it's not clear because the sites list doesn't mean that this is an active site, right? It could be an inactive site. That's inside the preferences. Right.
Okay, so this one needs to be like, basically we need to verify this is a problem.
Yeah. Verify it because since Chuck changed the preferences to be only 2 type of courses, active or inactive. We should check that and see if that's.
Could you put a comment on this one of how it should behave?
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. I think, one of the things I found is helpful is, and sometimes we don't always do when we're reviewing tickets, is to put some sort of comment on them, because otherwise we sometimes forget that we had reviewed them or what we were thinking. So it's nice to put a little comment on each one. The next one is, SAK 29639. Need better styles for disabled input elements.
Yeah, I think we should add this.
Okay, so we can just open this.
Make it major.
Make it major? Okay, I'll make this a major and we'll open the ticket. Any comment you want to put on it? Just sounds like you agree that that's a good thing to do.
I think just review it. If it's not, we have to make it a different color. But I'm not sure if it is.
Okay. Well, I've opened it and I've set it to, I've opened it and set to major. So if anyone wants to make a comment on it, that'd be fine. That there. The next one is SAK 29316. Position of undo changes in lessons permission. Why isn't this a lessons issue then?
Oh, this is old. Very old.
Old. Oh yeah. So ask to retest because you think this one might be fixed.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. All right, just 2 more to go. Sakai 29337 is distance between folders while selecting content from resources.
I think that's fixed.
Okay. Needs retesting. All right. Cool. And the final one, tutorial look and feel. This is a duplicate. Tutorial look and feel needs to be fixed for Morpheus. Wasn't there another one on the tutorial?
Yep.
Oh, it says duplicate of Sakai 29166. Yeah, I see that. So I'm going to close this one as duplicate because it's not really adding any more information. So just go ahead and close this one. Resolve duplicate 29166. Resolve duplicate. Okay. As duplicates. Cool. All right, so that covers all the currently open tickets. So I guess we just have a couple more minutes, and I guess what's the issue I saw earlier? 29337. 29337. Okay. See that comment? Distance between folders while selecting content needs retesting. So, Sean, when you say that you saw it earlier, does that mean it's still an issue? $29255. Okay. Say 29255. File picker helper needs updating for Morpheus. Oh, so Sean was also saying that's still an issue. Okay.
I think so.
All right. So we still have a few that even that are still issues, even though they are out there a little bit old. Okay. Thanks for that update. So we just have a couple of minutes left, and just curious if anyone has thoughts on QA testing. So any ideas about timing of QA and where we should focus our testing would be, appreciated.
So for mine, basically going all through the tickets, it's mostly look like it's mostly tool specific issues we had. Nothing
Okay.
overall, except for the tutorial and the other stuff, but which are not. But yeah, it's a lot of them are tool specific. So I think once we have this fixed, I have the layout. Yeah.
So does that mean if they're tool specific that we really need to wait for that documentation and start getting work done so people can use kind of the Bootstrap classes for their tools before we really do major testing in those areas?
We could. I mean, as I said, there are multiple ways. We can directly start fixing this using the default Morpheus, and then parallelly work on that so that they could shift over to this Morpheus-based CSS slowly. So I think that's the best option because if we wait till this is done, it could be a longer waiting period. So it's better we start working parallelly on these things. So that decision to move every tool to the Morpheus or the Bootstrap-based Morpheus can be done later period slowly.
Okay. So more we're looking for major issues right now with the tools and getting those fixed, not necessarily doing a complete move. So that indicates we could start testing tools earlier, notwithstanding we still have gradebook to merge in, and lessons is getting some additional functionality. So, okay.
Yep.
Okay, that gives me something to think about. Any other comments?
Yeah, it's worth noting about that, Neil, that until, I mean, I don't know what's going to happen for 11, but until we move to those bootstrap styles, right? The tools are still going to look sometimes. They may, we can do some styling things to ease things right now to make things look okay and things like that without using the bootstrap stuff, right? Styles, right? Which I think that's mostly what's been happening, right? Up to this point is that the tools still contain their old stuff. So Sakai has this already existing style, right, in the tools, right? I think a lot of it's controlled through tool base, right? So those styling, like for example, if you notice in Sakai, all the buttons are the same color. Those are the styling things that are, pre-Morpheus that are still there, and and most tools look and are styled in that way, right? When you start to move to the bootstrap thing, you're gonna, that's really when you start to say, oh, okay, we're gonna replace those existing Sakai styles with ones that are more bootstrapped ready. And once you start doing that, the responsiveness of the tool UI is going to be much better, right? Because bootstrap, that's when you're using the bootstrap styles, you're going to get the responsiveness of those styles, like when you put them on a mobile device or whatever, or something like that. So it's really important to go to those, right? But and here's maybe my biggest question / comment about this is, I don't know if those styles are going to be, 11, is that, and maybe you can comment, Uday. I mean, is that something they want to do for 11? Or is it that they just want to keep the existing Sakai style, fix up those styles where it just doesn't look so great, and then like after 11, maybe some version after 11, the bootstrap styles will take over.
Absolutely, yeah. That's exactly what I understood so far. Is basically fix everything for now and then define the standards for the tool specific CSS. So that if anyone can do it before 11 release, they could, but I don't think anyone will be putting time on that when it's close to the release. But yeah, what we want to provide is an option so that they could still do that by as soon as possible. Yeah.
Right. Okay.
That's exactly right. Yeah.
So, and so Neil, what that means, let me just say this to Neil, because I know it's good to Neil. It's good that everyone, I want to, it's good that everybody hears it. But so what that means is like from a tool perspective, the responsiveness is going to be, let's say, minimal, for the tools right now. Is that?
Yeah.
Neil, do you get that now?
Yeah, I get it.
I mean, just to give an example, Neil, basically some of the tools uses tables structure till, and the table structure is not responsive, I would say, completely. If you want to make it bootstrap responsive kind of thing, we should move slowly up from the table structure.
Right.
So it has a whole lot of work beyond the CSS. So they have to highlight their own structure and everything. So if we define them, this is what's the standard practice for the tools, then they could start working off based off that. That would be a starting point.
Right. Right. And if by some luck, if we have a lot of energy in the community and developers who have time to work on that, then we might get it in for 11, but we can't count on that. And we're not going to hold up 11 trying to say, well, we got to get all the tools using those standards. We'll just say the standards are there, and here's our dates, and then hopefully, a number of tools will get converted by that date. But if not, we'll just be planning
Well, I
for
don't
that
even
for
think
12.
you'll do that, Neil. I don't think you'll even convert some tools, because once you do that, I mean, maybe like what Uday was talking about, like the tables and things, maybe that work could be done. But I don't think you'll convert the style, because you don't want one tool looking one way and another tool looking a different way. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
You don't want them to drastically be different, right? Remember, not too long ago, Chuck Severance, this is, he kind of posted out there and said, "What is going on here?" And this was the whole leap thing, right?
Right.
And he's like, "This is so disjointed from like what Sakai's standards look like. Why is lessons so different now? It doesn't even look like part of Sakai, right?"
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's what would happen in theory. That that's, you could end up with something like that if you started having a tool use the bootstrap styles and other tools not use it.
Right.
Don't get me wrong, some styles are more invasive than others as far as visual goes. And I'll even go out and say, initially when I did the message bundle manager tool, I did use all bootstrap styles. The entire app was all bootstrapped, right? And then I actually had to unbootstrap it, because once later on, I was like, yeah, this just looks so different,
Mm-hmm.
So I had to unbootstrap it in many ways, and then and just use the default Sakai styling,
Right.
because it looks so different, and
Right. So that's a good question for I don't know if anyone knows the answer. So at one point we had discussed with the Express Labs folks who did the styling for the lessons in the Elite project, that they were going to contribute styles that could be put in Morpheus that over time we could choose to use. But I don't know if that happened.
Right. Well, that would be awesome. Someone's going to have to this. Some of all this is, all involved with the extending, having Morpheus create, it's like, and it's already done a lot of that, right? It's got the Sky namespace, it's got all the things like what Uday was saying that's in there. But what needs to happen now is that there needs to be where this stuff is mapped to like the bootstrap styles, right? And then once that happens, then like the whole thing's going to change, right?
Right.
And that's really, that's what needs, I think the most. And Uday's right. It's not going to be just CSS. There's going to be, some work that has to be done in the tools too.
Right. Updating the HTML so that it can take advantage of the CSS.
Right. Exactly. So right.
So my question still stands.
Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, my question still stands. I mean, because I thought that was happening where the Express Labs were contributing that those styles, like we didn't have to use them, but they would be in there. Is that not happening? Did that not happen? I'm that was perplexing to me.
That I don't know.
Yeah,
I have no clue.
Does anybody know?
No, I don't know.
Nobody knows?
Maybe they're using it in the lessons enhancement slide, but I don't know at this point.
All right. So that's a question I still have. It's kind of bugging me because it would be nice to get their contribution, and then we could either choose to use it or not. I hope that ship hasn't sailed, right? I mean, if it's still possible to get their contribution and put that in the CSS in our central Morpheus CSS, and then as a community we can decide and go, yeah, that's a great way to do it once we do that, make an effort for that conversion. So I guess I'll bring that question up several more times and hopefully get an answer. Because it would be nice. And then it sounds like maybe Sakai 12 is making the tools responsive. So maybe Sakai 11 is our first major foray into a responsive design, and then maybe Sakai 12, our main focus is getting all, having a new look and feel, and moving all the tools over to responsive. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. I think I think it's going to be like that two-step process there. I think Sakai 11 is the base Morpheus, you know, get everything, you know, which was a lot. I mean, I don't want to take anything away from that, because that was a lot of work. That was a lot to do. You gotta remember now, it seems so long ago, but go back to the portal, you know, being iframeless and, you know, and inlining and all that happening, right? You know, all that stuff had to happen, you know, and, you know, none of that's really is going to be used until really, you know, until 11. So, you know, and having, you know, Morpheus in there, you know, that's like our initial, you know, go on that. But I agree. I think 12 is going to be more of, you know, hey, okay, now we've got Morpheus in there. Now we need to create, you know, we need to extend and create different styles, you know, of which I would say, you know, people can create their own styles, right? I mean, they can go create their own, but we, you know, we would create like extend the default bootstrap styles and maybe come out with like a default bootstrapping looking Sakai, right? You know, that will be one, you know, one way to start. Say, look, I'm not gonna, you know, we're not gonna go, you know, we're gonna create one style, you know, we have one style that's just, you know, using just generic bootstrap, right? Styles, and then the Sakai ones map to those, right? But then that means that you could say, okay, anybody else that wants to create a custom one would, you know, here it creates the map for them to do that, right? So that they can say, oh, okay, yeah, I wanna create my own, you know, styles, and okay, well, here's how you would do that, you know.
Mm-hmm.
They would just look at the default bootstrap one, and they would see how to do that, you know. And then I think, and this is going to bleed into like what, you know, what I think Dr. Chuck has been talking about lately. You know, this is going to bleed into having a really, you know, cool UI in the future, where, you know, where all these things kind of come together and they happen, you know, and I honestly feel, you know, that's probably like a Sakai 12 thing. I mean, I don't know. Maybe somebody will pick it up and go with it. It would be great if that happened, but I don't know. I haven't heard of anything yet.
Okay. All right. Well, I noticed we're a little bit after 12, and so I want to be respectful. We know this roughly. We wanted this meeting to be about an hour, so I don't know if there's any other things that folks feel like need immediate attention or discussion. So just see if there is. Otherwise, I would suggest we adjourn for today.
Yeah. I don't have anything now.
Okay. Going once. Going twice. All right. Thanks, everyone. I'm going to stop the recording and take care. We'll talk to you next week.
Thanks, Neil. Thanks all.